Gonna start with a twin pack of Boston butts, about 10 pounds each. I'm gonna rub them down tonight, let them sit overnight in the refrigerator, and then smoke them tomorrow. Okay, I prefer to wash them and then pat them dry with some paper towel before I put the rub on. And then this time I'm gonna use a sweet rub because I plan to use a white barbecue sauce that's vinegar based, so kind of a sweet bark and then sour flavoring. Okay, I rubbed them down, put them in the refrigerator. I'll leave them overnight. Start the smoker probably around 6 in the morning at pretty low temperature, and we'll see how it goes. When you put that rub on there, one of the things I noted was don't try to put the rub into underneath meat to try to get every single part of it rubbed down, because if you get it underneath there, it may not caramelize or char up the outside. So just let it fall on the outside and that should be fine. It's about 6:15 in the morning. I just put the butts on. Temperature about 207. I'm going to set it to about 250. You can see where the meat probe in one of the butts is at 40 degrees, and so just getting started. It's a little dark outside, but the way I'm set up is one brisket's at the top, one is in the middle. They're both about 10 pounds. I've got a drip pan in the bottom, and then I filled up the bottom with water. So I decided to include a screenshot of from the app for the smoker. So the big number in the middle, the 226, is the smoker temperature inside the cabinet. And you can't see it in this particular screenshot. I don't really like the iMovie app to edit this video, but above where it says step and time will be the temperature of a probe that I put in one of the Boston butts, which was the one at the highest. So in further things, if you see it, that's what that temperature is for. Okay, about 2 hours in, I'm gonna open it up and spray it with some apple cider vinegar. Might help get the bark up nice on the outside. If you're wondering what pellets I'm using, I decided to go with the Pit Boss competition blend. I picked it up at Lowe's for like $14. I like the smell of it, and the smoke seems to be pretty good as well. This is a screenshot from the Inkbird probe that I also use in addition to the probe that's in the meat that attaches to the smoker itself. And so the red line is the Boston butt that was at the top, and the green is the one that's in the middle. So the red is starting to track slightly higher in temperature. The beauty of that Pit Boss vertical smoker is that you can do this, you can check on it while you're away from it. I'm out running and I just checked on the temperatures. Everything's looking fine. A couple of tips here. Anytime I open the door to either add water or spray the butts down with apple cider vinegar, I always hit the prime button. Well, you know, the auger periodically comes on too, but if you hold the prime button, it feeds it some more, and it'll give a little bit of burn right before you open up the door, so you can you won't lose as much heat once you open up the door. It's been about 3 to 4 hours, so I sprayed it again. The cabinet temperature is about 240. I set it to 250, and it quite hasn't got up to that point yet throughout this whole entire smoke, so it's only off by 10 degrees, which I don't think is too bad. So as it gets closer to 165, which I plan to take them out and then wrap them at that point, stick them back in there. I'll probably use butcher paper. I'll leave it at 250, but after that I'll bump the temperature up to 300, maybe even 325 or 350, just to kind of get the cooking process over with a little bit sooner than later. And here's a separate image of the Inkbird probe, so you can show graphs or you can actually just show the temperature as it is. So just another view for looking at the temperatures. Okay, it's a good idea to get a set of these. Picked them up at Academy Sports actually today for handling hot meat. And so I'm gonna go ahead and take one of the butts off because it's at 169 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap them and stick it back in there to kind of finish them off. All right, I'm gonna wrap them in butcher paper, which is not what I normally do. I usually use aluminum foil, but I figured I'd give this a try this time. So I'm just gonna double wrap them in butcher paper and then throw them back in there. So I did some shuffling around this time. I put the butt that was at the top in the middle rack and the one in the middle rack at the top rack because you know, it's just hotter in the top portion of that chamber, and so it seemed to be lagging behind a little bit on the temperature, so I decided I'd move it up some, and we'll see. Hopefully that makes them run out at about the same time. So, interesting thing happening. It's raining, it's pouring. Lightning, there's a lot of lightning, and so it tripped the power. The unit shut down, and so with this particular brand, since it is a Wi-Fi and it's got a PID control on the inside of it, it will kind of go through a startup procedure when it restarts. So just if the power goes off, you have to remember that it's not like it's just going to pick right back up where it was. So you've got to kind of go through the whole startup procedure. You can kind of kickstart it by feeding the auger a little bit more, but just remember that if the power goes off, you gotta stay on top of it. Okay, pulled the first butt at once it hit about 202, 203. It's been cooking for 11 hours, so should be good and tender. I just wrapped it, and then usually what I do when I wrap it is I'll put them into a cooler and let that fat kind of continue to render through for about 30 minutes to an hour if I've got time. We're about to eat, so I don't have a ton of time, but this other one's about 10 degrees, lagging behind by about 10 degrees, so I'll pull that one when it's ready to do the same thing. I decided to plot all the temperature readings from the Inkbird app as well as the smoker probe temperature at different time points, and so this graph just is a summary of all of that. So the x-axis shows the time of day, so just for your reference, I started around 6:15 and then roughly finished around 6 p.m. So right at 12 hours from start to finish. And I circled where I took the butts out, put them in, wrapped them in butcher paper, put them back into the smoker to let them finish out and reach around 203 degrees. After that, I wrapped them, put them in the cooler, let that sit for a while, 30 minutes, 45 minutes I think total. Pulled them out and let them rest on the counter for another maybe 5-10 minutes, and that's when I started digging in.